What's in your brand? This is a critical question for small and medium business owners who are trying to develop their company and build their brand. And I just happen to be here today with John Brand, marketing expert and the CEO of Brand Design. John, a little bit about Brand Design.
Hi, Brand Design is a full-service advertising agency located in Warrenton, Virginia. We serve Maryland, D.C., several other states around the country. We've been in business about 18 years now, and we started in 1994.
Great.
And we do every form of marketing that there is to offer, pretty much.
Great. And we're here to talk about branding today. And I guess with a name like John Brand, you didn't have much of a career choice.
I was actually born into the business.
Born into the business.
And named that way, too. Yeah.
Great. I know, and most of us know that, great brands aren't built overnight, right? I can't just come up with a neat logo and hang my sign out on the door and expect it to be world known, right? I know it comes with a lot of building, brand building. So what are some ways that you recommend as far as, once you have this great logo, once you have this great brand, how do you build that? How do you really grow it and really make it go from, here's something I know and my company knows, to this is a household name, or at least within a certain area?
You have to apply it to every form of marketing that you do. If you're one of the most important parts is a business card. That's a key part of your package and your marketing, your brand. It's probably one of the most important parts, because wherever you go, you're going to hand this card out. Your brand has to be right on that card. The slogan has to be right on that card. So it's not just your address and your name, but it's really the image that you put on that card, and that goes along with your advertising. It goes along with your social media. It also reflects in your website, of course, and brochures. Everything you do you have to incorporate that brand and the theme behind that brand that helps resonate with your customers, to help it resonate more with your customers.
Yeah, so it sounds like what you're saying is being consistent across all your materials, right? So I remember a couple years back, I think it was the E-Trade, the first year the E-Trade baby came out, right? And hilarious. I mean, great television commercials. I think it aired on the Super Bowl, was one of the first things, right? And I was probably, I don't know, a few months after that, or even a year after that, I went to the E-Trade site because I was doing a class on advertising and I wanted to bring up that and kind of show that. And I was surprised that E-Trade didn't really have a recognizable reference to the E-Trade baby. Now they may now, haven't been there in a little while, but it sounds like what you're saying is that consistency of your branding and your coloring and your logo across all your materials.
And it's funny because I have a client that just asked us to develop some video based on that E-Trade baby commercial. And so we had to go back and check the E-Trade baby commercial to see what it was all about, to make sure we understood it, and there were lots of them. So they have, since that first one, developed a series of E-Trade baby commercials that are all done the same way and all carry and help distinguish that brand.
Yeah. And so as for small, medium business owners, of course, it's tough for us to buy into the Super Bowl commercial. We're still working on it. It's in my 2014 budget. But how can a small and medium business owners, what kind of tools can they use to help them best build their brand? What are some of the things that they can do?
Well, there are a lot of tools that are very inexpensive. I mean, if you're looking at social media, you can do that yourself, and you can build that brand right on your social media. Your website, relatively inexpensive. When you start getting up to direct mail and advertising, the price starts creeping up, and it gets a little more expensive. So you have to pick and choose where the most important places are to place your brand. But certainly email blasting, that's a great place to promote your brand, to get the name out.
Okay, great. Alyssa, any questions from our audience?
It seems like everything is going online. What's the future of print in branding my company?
Oh boy, that's a tough question. I mean, I've been doing branding in the traditional sense, printing, brochures, posters, trade show booths, all that, for years. That's how my business started. And within the last 2 to 3 years, everything has moved to online. And so if you're going to put money and put marketing dollars into something, put it onto online. I'm doing it. My clients are doing it. They're demanding that I do it for them. So yeah, I think that's the trend. Printing's not going to go away. Printing's still going to be there. People are still going to need advertising. They're still going to need a newspaper to be out there in print, because let's face it, people still read those publications. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely moving in that direction. That's a good place to put your money.
And so, yeah, so, you're doing a lot more online. We're kind of shifting that direction, because that's kind of really how people are finding companies in most industries now. But there's still a lot of value to, you know, the handout brochure, the touchy-feely thing in certain
Absolutely.
situations, the trade shows, you know, certainly business cards, a huge printed thing that I don't see going away anytime
No.
soon. So I think there are a lot of still good printed, but I think the main thing then, what you're saying is, but when you do the online and you do the print, keep them consistent in all those
Absolutely,
things.
yeah, it has to be consistent across all media, whether it be advertising, a trade show booth. I mean, you're probably going to see some imagery here soon with some trade show booths that we did for a company called Catch the Wind. We developed their brochures, their trade show booths, and through that process, we had to make sure that everything was the same. The particular trade show booth went to Marseille, France, and it was a
Okay.
20 by 20-foot booth, but it had to look like their marketing materials to help really push their brand.
Do you have the, what is it, Trade Wind?
Catch the Wind?
I'm sorry, Catch the Wind. Do you have the Catch the Wind slides, Elizabeth?
That's just one form, but yeah, across all media, and it's still really important to advertise. Some people don't always go online. They do look through the newspapers. They do see your ads, and to have a presence. If you're going to have a presence through traditional media, you have to have the presence that's consistent across all media.
Yeah, so I think you have the Catch the Wind booth up, and you can see that. And Alyssa, if you scroll back maybe and just kind of show what the brochure and some of the other marketing materials that they did with that.
One of the things that we looked at here, this particular company deals with wind turbines, so wind and wind energy was really important to them. So we wanted to try to capture, as part of their brand, the wind flowing through their marketing materials. And that was really difficult when it came down to doing their trade show booth, because how do you show wind flow? So what we ended up doing, we did a skywalk that actually had a curved feel to it, and that's how we got the wind in their trade show booth. So,
Yeah, and I like that trade show booth design in 25. I mean, that's a pretty significant project.
yeah, it was huge.
That you guys do. And
That was a large project.
yeah, so to pull that out, that's a great way to. So and you know, we see a lot of local trade shows. We were at one last week, in
Yep.
fact, here in Northern Virginia, and you know, people kind of come in and they put their tablecloth on, and you know, there's not a whole lot of other branding besides that.
Right.
I know my first trade show, I had my table, and I just had the plain white tablecloth, and you know, with business consulting, you don't have a lot of showy stuff.
Right.
Well, they put me next to a woman who is an interior decorator. So she has all these plants and great things, great colors, you know, and then you get to my booth and it's like all white. Well, luckily we set up the night before, and so when I saw that, and I was of course across from a guy named Doc Klaus, who always has a great booth.
That's true.
And actually won Best in Show that year. And so I had the night, I went and I got a nice colored tablecloth, and I kind of propped it up and
That's it.
did some other displays so that it wasn't a total. And I gave the interior decorator half my table as well, so that was all good. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
you
that
can see
branding
the-
and taking that to all your different things, I think, is something that.
It's a perfect example of why it's so important to do branding and to present who you are to your customers. I mean, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, and I know we've had a little bit of a conversation recently especially about protecting your brand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what are some of the things that you think about when you're thinking, okay, now I have this brand, or I've trademarked or copyrighted something? How do you, any ideas on making sure that you protect that so nobody else is using it, or?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Primarily, you want to register it, you want to trademark it. You can put text on all your literature and pieces. This is no trademark, this is a property
Right.
of your company, that type of thing. You can definitely put that down, copyright it, put the C on there with your date, so that will help protect your product
Right.
and your business.
Yeah, and the other thing with that, of course, is that you need to, you know, do some searches and keep an eye out, you know, to make sure that people aren't kind of using it and doing that. The bigger companies have staff that's kind of what they do, is they
Yep.
search and they do that and protect their brand, because.
You know, you can really go overboard with, I don't think you can ever go overboard with it. In reality, the expense of trying to protect it can be outrageous. So
Right.
you have to kind of do it within reason. I've had clients come to me and say, hey, I saw your materials in somebody else's booth and they were using them. And of course, you know, you have to call the customer and say, well, how did this
Right.
come about? So you have to be right on top of it when you do find out about it. But nevertheless, I mean, there's certain things you can put into place that's not overly expensive, and obviously you need to consult with an attorney
Right.
to make sure you do it properly.
Good, good. Well, John, hey, thanks so much for being here today. I appreciate all the great information, and you know that we're about helping people be better at business, and I think this will help them do that today.
Absolutely.
You know, certainly, if you found this information useful, feel free, please share it with your colleagues, share it with your friends, or share it with your clients if you're a business professional. And but most of all, take the information today and somehow take that back and use it so that you can be better at business today. Next week, we're going to be with Paul Goff. We're going to talk about healthcare. Paul is an insurance agent with the Puffenberger Agency here in Northern Virginia. And we're going to be talking through healthcare reform and some of the things, and really, in a non-political way, talk about healthcare reform and how it's going to affect business, or how it could affect your business and your bottom line over the upcoming years. So, thanks for joining us today, and be better at business.